Good evening, everyone. We are now about to start our syllabus of polity. The first topic that we are going to look into is preamble. I am Kritika Ramasetu from Prakriti. So first, I will tell you what the preamble is. So preamble is usually found on the first page of the Constitution of India. I'll read out the Constitution for you. Sorry, the preamble for you. The preamble of Indian Constitution says, "We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and the integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So this is the preamble of our Indian Constitution. So what is the source where all this started from? So the source is the aims and objective resolution. So the source is aims and objective resolution. Who presented it? It was presented by Dr. Jawaharlal Nehru. It was presented by Jawaharlal Nehru. So the aims and objective resolution is the source of our preamble. Okay. It was introduced by Jawaharlal Nehru on the 13th of December 1946. It is also called the blueprint of the Constitution. So the preamble is also called the blueprint of the Constitution. So I will tell a few dates which you have to remember. It was introduced on the 13th of December 1946. But it was adopted on 22nd January 1947. 22/1/1947. Okay. So the Constituent Assembly had a debate, and then the Constituent Assembly's debate started on the 9th of December 1946. Okay, so I'll write the dates for you once. It was introduced on the 13th of December 1946. It was adopted on the 22nd of January 1947. Okay, so far clear? So when was the concept of preamble introduced to the world first? So it was introduced by the United States of America. So the Constitution of USA first wrote down the preamble, and it gave this idea to the world, and the world started adopting this idea of preamble. So the Constitution of USA first wrote preamble, and it had its first written constitution. Later, many countries followed this idea. So why is the preamble very necessary? We'll see this while we are talking about it now. Okay. Now let's break the preamble into small parts to understand what does it tell us and what is the significance and importance of the preamble of Indian Constitution. So the first it starts with "We the people of India." We the people of India. What does it say? It shows that we, you and me, us, the people of India, is the source of power, is the source of power, which shows that our soil is ruled by us, the people. We rule our nation. India is ruled by the indigenous people, that is, the people of India. How do we do it? We vote. We have our voting rights. So we execute our power by voting, by choosing our representatives. So it starts with we the people of India. This is also called showing that which is the source of power of the constitution. Where does the power of this government come from? It comes from the people. This concept, this is called autochthony. Autochthony. Okay. Which means the power lies in the hands of the people. The people rule the nation. Fine. Next. So what happened? The Constituent Assembly. You should know a little bit about the Constituent Assembly. What it did is it is voted by members of Provincial Legislative Council for the formation. Okay, so the Constituent Assembly was formed by members who voted for the Provincial Legislative Assembly. All this happened while we were in a process towards freedom. Okay. So there was a permission that was granted. The permission was granted by the second cabinet meeting. Okay, the second cabinet mission of 1946. The permission was granted by second cabinet mission of 1946. For what? It was a legal sanction for creating or formulating our constitution. Okay, it was a permission granted. It was a legal sanction. Fine. So why was this legal sanction necessary? It was necessary to prove that India does not have a dominion status anymore. So once the Constitution of India comes into effect, India loses its dominion status and becomes a sovereign state. I will tell about each word that I'm using now in as the class proceeds. Okay. So when the Constitution of India comes into effect, it loses its dominion status and becomes a sovereign country. Okay, it becomes a sovereign state. Hence, the legal sanction was granted in the second cabinet mission of 1946. Fine. Now let's look into the India Independence Act of 1947. So what happened in the India Independence Act 1947? This specific act was passed on the 18th of July 1947. Okay. So what does it state? It states on the appointed day of 15th August 1947, British India shall be divided into autonomous dominions. One shall be called India and the other shall be called Pakistan. So what is this? So As the statement here goes, on the 15th of August 1947. We all know it is the Independence Day of our nation. So this says that there shall be two autonomous dominions. Okay. Till then, India was undivided. Okay. But on that day, it shall be declared as an autonomous dominion, and there shall be two autonomous dominion. One is India, the other is Pakistan. At that time, we should remember that Pakistan was in two parts. One is East Pakistan and West Pakistan. East Pakistan is today's Bangladesh. Okay. So the statement says, British India shall be divided into autonomous dominions. One shall be called India and the other shall be called Pakistan. But why dominion? Because both these dominions at that stage did not have a constitution for their own self. Till they have a constitution for themselves, till that day, it shall remain a dominion. Okay. So the head of the dominion shall be the King of England. What does dominion means? That it shall the land will be ruled by, not ruled actually, the land will hold its accountability to England, to the crown of England, till the constitution comes into effect. So on the day when the constitution comes into effect, that day the dominion status shall be cancelled and the country and the nation shall be declared a sovereign state. Okay. There is what, so when was this when was our constitution when did it come into effect? It came into effect on the day that we celebrate as Republic Day, that is the 26th January 1950. Okay. So the Constitution of India came into effect on 26 January 1950, and that day the dominion status was cancelled and India became a sovereign state. Fine. There is one more clause that you have to understand here, that was in the second cabinet mission. It also said that India has to send the draft of the constitution, okay, for approval to England. The second cabinet mission said that India has to send the draft of its constitution to England for approval. Okay. But what happened? That we faced a procedural error. We faced a procedural error. What was the error? Procedural error. That it was a purposely made smart error by our Honorable Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay. What was this error? Is Dr. Ambedkar did not send the draft of the constitution to England for approval. What he did is, he said that we forgot to send for approval, and that is where he added the clause, the very powerful statement, where the preamble starts, we the people of India. Okay, we the people of India. He was very smart, he was very intelligent. He said we do not need an external approval, and he added saying that we the people of India have done it. He showed that we are powerful, we have the power to rule our nation, we are not answerable to any other external force. Okay, this was done on purpose and it was called a procedural error. Fine. This is a fact, just a fact that you should be knowing. So now let's look into the important uh, uh, terms in the preamble. Okay. So let's first start with the first term, sovereign. After we saw the importance of we the people of India, now we will see sovereign. Okay. What is the meaning of sovereign? Sovereign means owned by our own self, that is, ruled by our own self. We are not answerable to any external power. To any external power. We shall not be answerable. Also, this also means that we will not be allowed to be ruled by any other external power. Okay. So the Britishers cannot come back again to India and said, we ruled you once, we will rule you back. They are not allowed to do so, not to be ruled by any other external force. This is one of the most important aspect of the concept of sovereignty. Okay. That is why India is called a sovereign nation. Also, India is not bound. India is not bound to follow the rules bestowed on it unnecessarily by any external force. Okay. Now you must be going through the news and all these things. You know that India is a member of a lot of international organizations. Okay. Like now recently the G20. Okay. Or the United Nations or ASEAN, so on and so forth. Okay. ARDO, BIMSTEC. There are so many. India is a member of a lot of international organizations, which means that if it is a member, it has to follow a certain guidelines, right? But it will follow the stipulated guidelines. But as India is a sovereign state, it has the autonomy to walk out of the membership. That means any of these external powers cannot enforce its power on India. That means India is not liable. Okay. India is not liable. India doesn't have any liability on any external force. Okay. Likewise, India does not have any obligation. See, I said that it is a member of a lot of organizations, which means it has to follow a lot of guidelines, it has to follow a lot of rules. But if India feels that I do not want to continue the membership of a particular organization, it holds itself free. It is not obligated to stay there, or any other external force cannot force India, cannot put an obligation on India, because India is a sovereign state. Okay. So what do you understand by sovereignty? Is India does not have any obligation. It doesn't hold liable. It doesn't have any liability towards any external forces. Okay. make a note of all these important points and terms that I am telling you. That is why I am stressing on all these words again and again. Fine. So, since when India was declared as a sovereign state, but in 1949, what happened is Jawaharlal Nehru again proposed to join the Commonwealth nations. Okay, you must have all heard about Commonwealth games and all these things. Okay, so he proposed to join the Commonwealth nations. What is Commonwealth? Commonwealth nations are the group of countries ruled by the then British Raj. Okay, so why did he propose that everybody has joined the Commonwealth? We shouldn't be left out. Hence, Jawaharlal Nehru ji proposed that we join the Commonwealth nations. But again, since India is a sovereign nation, it is not bound to any external forces. That means this is an extra legal arrangement. What is this called? An extra legal arrangement. Okay. In so you can use this term of extra legal arrangement in all the membership that India holds. It is a extra. Extra means external. It's a legal arrangement for sure, but it's an external legal arrangement. Okay, making it clear to you. So again, once we have adopted our Constitution of India on the 26th of January 1950, what all happens? We become a sovereign state, which means till then there was an interim constitution that India was following, because India got its independence already in 1947. Okay. So in this period of time, India followed an interim constitution that is called the Government of India Act 1935. So on the January 26, 1950, when India adopted its constitution, the Government of India Act 1935 was repealed. It was removed. It was repealed. The right term for it is repealed. Okay, it was repealed. So the Constitution of India in Article 395 of the India Independence Act declares its sovereignty. So Constitution of India in Article 395 by the India Independence Act of 1947 declares itself sovereign, or declares its sovereignty. Okay. Now let's go to the next part. India is sovereign. We should now see whether the citizens are sovereign or not. That is, India as a nation is sovereign. You and me, the citizens of India, are we sovereign? Somebody unmute your mic and answer the question. Just try answering this question. Are Indian citizen, sovereign? You have to consider the facts that I told you. Is India, what are the criteria that I told you for sovereignty? It is not liable, it doesn't have any obligation. Are Indians as citizens sovereign? Anyone? No. Okay, fine.
Ma'am, I can try.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, if Indian take her decision without any pressure,
Hmm.
without any influence,
Hmm.
that's say India is sovereign country.
Yes. Is Indian? Are you a sovereign? Are you sovereign? You are an Indian. Are you sovereign?
No, ma'am, Indian is not sovereign.
Indian is not sovereign. Nice. Good answer. So, India is a sovereign country, but Indian is not sovereign, which means we are bound. We are bound by what? Law. Which is the law that we are bound by? It's the Constitution of India. So, if anybody asks you, are you sovereign? Your answer is no. Indian citizen is not sovereign. Okay, because we are bound, we are answerable, we are accountable, liable, and obligated to law. Okay, we are answerable, accountable, liable, obligated to our law, which is the Constitution of India. Okay, so citizens of India are not sovereign, whereas India as a country, as a state, is a sovereign state. Okay, there is one exception, only one exception to this sovereignty of an Indian citizen. What is that exception? It is Indian citizen is sovereign when he or she exercises the duty of voting. That is when an Indian citizen exercises the voting rights. Right? When we vote, are anyone is anyone allowed to come and influence you externally? Is somebody allowed to come and tell you that you vote for ABC or CGE or XYZ? No, right? It is illegal to influence an individual for voting to a particular party or an individual. You have to take your decisions by yourself. So, this is the only time when an Indian citizen has the right of sovereignty, has the privilege of sovereignty, when he or she is exercising their voting rights. Okay, and this is from where we hold the supreme power of ruling our nation. Okay, ruling our country, which I already stated in the initial time of this class, where the clause "we the people" came. Okay, this is the only exemption when you exercise your voting rights and when you are a sovereign entity. Okay, this is also called universal adult suffrage or universal adult franchise. Universal adult suffrage. Or universal adult franchise. India gave the right to vote, like it gave the universal adult franchise to each one of you and me immediately when the constitution was adopted. Okay, this is called universal adult franchise or universal adult suffrage, the right of each citizen to vote and select our representative to govern the nation. Okay, next let's go to the word democratic. A very interesting, very each one of us like this idea of democracy since we are Indians. So democratic. So each one of us know, we have studied in school, a very common definition is democracy is a government by the people, of the people, for the people. I hope each one of you know this. That democracy is a form of a government by the people, of the people, and for the people. Okay. It's a very common definition that each one of us know, which since school days we have been listening to it, and it very much stands true. How? What we do? We select, in technical terms, elect our representatives and send them to the houses, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, the state legislative assemblies, and give them the power to rule the state for the people's welfare. Okay. That means the government is formed by the people. And for what? For the people, for the welfare of the people. And who are the representatives who are going there? The representative is a person one among us, that is of the people. So this definition also stands right. Now you should know the types of democracy. There are two kinds of democracy. Okay. One is direct, another is indirect. Anyone who knows what kind of democracy is India? Anybody? Anyone? Wants to try?
Ma'am, can you please repeat a question? Voice little break in my side.
Yes. Okay. My question was, I'll tell you from the beginning, there are two kinds of democracy. One is direct and second is indirect. Which kind of democracy is India? Whether it's a direct democracy or indirect democracy.
Uh, Ma'am, India is a bonds of both of democracy. Because of directly I represented in Lok Sabha, but indirectly I represented Rajya Sabha, or indirectly I elected by the president, and directly I elected by the prime minister. It means it's known as both democracy in India can be used,
Okay.
direct or indirect, both.
Now we will keep your answer on hold. But what I will do is I will explain both the concepts of direct and indirect democracy. After I finish explaining, try to answer the question again. Okay? But good try till then. Fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, direct democracy. Okay. What happens here is people, they themselves solve their problem. How is they find out what the problem is? They debate among themselves, they decide, and decide by various means of referendum or plebiscite. These are all different means how they do it, and they resolve their own problems. This direct kind of a democracy, this kind of a democracy is found where the territory is small. Okay. For example, smaller countries like the cantonment of Switzerland, and so on and so forth. So this is kind of a direct democracy. Whereas in the indirect democracy, what happens is, again, people participate, but what they do is they vote. They select the representative, and the representatives take care of solving all the problems and taking care of the welfare of the people. So in an indirect democracy, there has to be elected representatives. Okay. For governance. to form a government. Okay. Here, there is also a necessity that there has to be free, fair, and timely elections. Okay. So, in an indirect democracy, there has to be free, fair, and timely elections. People have to vote for it and elect representatives and send them to form a government, and hence the governance is taken forward. This is this is the indirect form of democracy. Now answer, what kind of democracy is India, whether it is direct or indirect?
Yes, ma'am. It's of course indirect democracy.
Yes, that's nice. So India is an indirect democracy. Okay, there is more about it, but I will talk to you about more in detail about democracy in the other classes when we focus more about it. But I'll talk very less about like whatever is needed now in this class. So there is with democracy, you understand that democracy is very powerful, right? You understand now that it's very, very, very powerful in nature, right? So it has unlimited powers, right? It has unlimited powers because it has to take care of the welfare of the infrastructure or everything, the security, defense, anything and everything to run the government smoothly, right? So democracy, with democracy, you have unlimited powers. That means you can take any measures for the welfare. So what happens when there is unlimited power, there is also a threat. What there is a chance that this democracy, this unlimited power, it can lead to oppression of the mass, of the people, right? Suddenly the most powerful person in the government can become a ruler. Okay, hence there has to be something which controls this democracy. Okay, what is that control factor? It is the republic factor. Okay, the factor that controls democracy, that draws yeah, that has a yardstick that says democracy, see, you have to remain in these stipulated framework. This is called the concept of republic. Okay, so with only democracy, there is a chance that the apex, for now, let's call that person who's ruling the king. Hmm? There is high chance that he becomes the apex. High chance. Okay. But when republic comes into effect, when this concept, when this most powerful concept or this yardstick or this framework of republic comes to effect, okay, the law becomes supreme. Okay. Until then, the head of the state, the government, the head of the state was supreme, right? Head of state. In democracy, head of the state was supreme. Like, suppose I just named, for example, the king or the ruler was supreme. But when republic is there, it says that there is a king of kings. That means the law is supreme. So, what is this king of kings? There is a concept, okay? There is a Latin concept called lex. Rex. The spelling is Lex space Rex. The lex rex, which means the law is supreme, is the concept when republic comes into effect. So democracy is very necessary, but democracy with the concept of republic makes India very special. It says that the law is supreme. Everybody, you, me, the prime minister, the president, the chief minister, governor, or a pauper, or a labor, a farmer, Ambani, Adani, you, me, everybody. Okay, each one of us are equal in front of law. So the apex is law. Okay. In the concept of republic, the law is supreme, which also means law is the king of the kings. Okay. It is supreme. Fine. There is also one thing that you should understand about republic is just to write down, okay, just for your notes to make it even more effective. It means this is something beyond the king, something beyond the supreme power, individual, which means again stressing the point for you to note down properly. Law is supreme, is apex. You and me and everybody are bound to the law, which is the Constitution of India. Okay. Republic also says that the source of the power remains with the people. Okay. Republic says the source of power is with the people. How? Because when people are bound by law, anything that leads to dictatorship or anything that suppresses the rights of the people or leads to the suffering of people, they again take their very strong power in their hands, which is the right of voting, and decide the fate of the nation again. Okay, so it says that the source of power remains with the people again. Republic is very, very important because it is the one thing that ensures that the source of power remains in the hands of the people. Okay, so far clear? Now I'm going to the next concept of socialist. So, what happened in 1976? This term socialist was added to the preamble. Okay, why was it added? I'll tell you why was it added, but it was added by the 42nd Amendment Act. Okay, it was added by the 42nd Amendment Act by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Okay, so why was this term socialist added? It didn't have a great significance. It didn't change the face of the constitution once it was added, but there was a reason why it was added in 1976 later. But suppose what would have happened if it was added in 1950 itself, when the constitution was it came into effect. Back then socialism meant socialism by Karl Marx. Okay, so what does the socialism by Karl Marx say? I am not going very deep about the socialism concept by Karl Marx now. I'm just going to be very shallow about it. But when we talk about ideologies, I'll tell more about the Marxist socialism. Now, very much in shallow, just what is necessary. for this particular preamble chapter only. Okay, so what does Marxist socialism mean? That the resources be distributed equally. Okay, that means all the assets shall remain, the public assets shall remain with the government. Everything shall be taken care of by the government, and the resources shall be distributed equally. Fine. This is what is the core concept of socialism by Marx, by Karl Marx. Okay. So if we would have added this socialist concept, the term socialist in 1950, there would have been a confusion. Okay. There would have been a great confusion. They would have taken that India would be a socialist country, like, for example, Russia, that is today, when the USSR broke. So everything, all the assets or all the control would be in the hands of the government, and the resources shall be distributed equally among the mass, among the people. But India follows a different kind of a socialism altogether. India is a very socialist country, but with a very different concept. It is the Gandhian socialism. Okay. So what Gandhian socialism says is equality of opportunity, right? Equality of opportunity. It's a Gandhian socialism propagates equality of opportunity rather than giving the resources directly. Okay. What does this mean is, like, for example, the very now Manarega is a scheme which you will understand when we study about the scheme, but just an example. But equality of opportunity means, suppose there is a person who is earning 1 lakh rupees per month. Okay, you will be given equal opportunity to earn 1 lakh rupees per month, rather than the concept of Marx socialism says, if you have 1 lakh rupees, I will distribute this 1 lakh rupees among, supposedly there are 10 citizens, I will give 10,000 rupees each. Okay. But what Gandhian socialism says, the Indian concept of socialism says that I will ensure that you get the opportunity to earn that 1 lakh rupees by yourself. Okay. I will create equal opportunity. That means this person who is earning 1 lakh rupees has access to some kind of an education, lifestyle, so on and so forth. That therefore, all the citizens who wish to or aspire earn 1 lakh rupees per month shall be given the same opportunities like the person who is earning it, rather than taking away whatever he has earned and giving it to you. So this is the kind of socialism that India follows. Says, Indian socialism, that is Gandhian socialism, says that there shall be a equality in the opportunity created. Okay. To earn resources. Okay. This is the concept of Indian socialism. So far clear? Is it clear so far? Fine. I assume that it is clear so far, and I'm going further. So I also said that what is the significance of adding? One second. What is the significance of adding the word socialist? I would say there is no great significance. Okay. It was just a political statement. talking about it in detail later when we have to face the concept. It was just a political statement. Why there was, it didn't change the face, it didn't change anything in the core constitution. Why? Because I read the preamble for you all when I said that the preamble has a phrase saying, a clause saying that equality of statuses and opportunity, which implicitly or even explicitly, very much directly says or showcases our concept of socialism. Okay, clear? So next, let's go to secular. Again, this was added in the 42nd Amendment Act. Why was this not added by then? Because again, socialism, secularism means that India as a nation, India as a country, doesn't have a religion, doesn't have a state religion. Okay? One second, I see something on my screen. One second. Yes. So yeah, I'll continue again. So the word secular, the word secular was added in the 42nd Amendment Act again. But you have to understand what is secularism before understanding the need for the addition of word secular. So again, I'll tell you about the core concept of secularism. When in 1950s, when the constitution was adopted, if the word secularism would have been added, that would have meant the Western concept of secularism. So, what is the Western concept of secularism here is you have to understand that there is an entity called the state or the government. Okay. There is another entity called the religion that it follows. Generally, it is, uh, let's take British for example, it follows Christianity. Okay. So, when it follows Christianity, there is a church, there is a main church. So, what happened before the French Revolution? Okay, there is something that happened very historically while the French Revolution, but till then, till the French Revolution happened, this entity was one, religion and state was one. Okay, sorry, the church, I'll make it very clear for you. The religion, the church, and the state was one. The governance was taken care by both of them in cohesion. Okay. But when the French Revolution took place, the French Revolution gave an amazing concept to the world. It said, let's see, state do its work and religion shall do its work. Religion shall do its work of propagating peace and the teachings and the learnings of the religion that is hence followed in the country, whereas state will take care of the governance and welfare part of the country. Okay. So this change took place by after as an after effect or an aftermath of the French Revolution. Okay. So Indian concept of secularism, this was the Western concept, but Indian concept of secularism is very amusing. Okay. It has a word. It is very ambivalent in nature. Okay. What is this ambivalent thing? I'll give an example which you can relate to. If for an individual, if you ask, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Which means introvert means someone who is very silent, who doesn't like expressing more or not talking to people much. And extrovert is a person who likes to talk to people and be is a people's person. But there is something in between. There is one kind of a strata of people called the ambiverts. They fall into both. They are a mixture or cohesion. of both these things together. So introvert, extrovert, and there's something in between called the ambivert. What they do is they change their behavior according to people they are around with. So the thing is, when it comes to when I said that India's concept of secularism is ambivalent in nature, that means it says that, see, India is a state. One second. Something with my pen. Okay. So India is a state. It doesn't have a religion of its own. Okay. It doesn't have a religion of its own. But it has a lot of people, its citizens, following different religion. Okay. Like there are Christians, there are Muslims, there are Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, so on and so forth. There are a lot of religions in India followed by the citizen of India. But there are also a set of people who say that there is no God. I do not follow any religion. They are called atheist. So what India says that I do not have a religion of myself. I am not anti-religion as well. That means I do not have a religion of myself, no state religion. But it also is not anti-religion. That means it is secular. It has given its citizens the freedom to follow, worship, believe in whatever faith they have, whatever religion they want to. Okay. So it is very ambivalent, it is very neutral. But what if there is a problem? If there is a religious outbreak, there is a problem, there is a fight between two community of people or three community of people. There's a community clash. So the state, the government will intervene. Okay, this is a very, so unlike a Western concept, this is a very Indian concept. Okay, India says, I do not have a religion of myself, nor I am anti-religious. You undertake whatever kind of activities or religious activities you want to take care of or you wish to, but if it disrupts the harmony, okay, but if it disrupts the harmony of the country, of the people, of the citizens, I shall intervene. So the Indian government shall intervene. Okay, so it means that it is ambivalent. It also beautifully follows watchful ambivalence. Okay, that is, you, me, and others. Suppose in a group we are 10 people belonging to different religions or different faiths. We are free to follow whatever we can, but we should make sure that we do not disturb the harmony of the nation. In that case, the government shall take necessary action on us who are disrupting the harmony of the nation. That means the state is watching what you and me are doing. So this is called watchful ambivalence. India is a secular country which follows watchful ambivalence. Okay. But why was this suddenly added in the 42nd Amendment Act? Did it make any difference? Did it create any significance? Hmm? Again, it was a political statement. Okay. But even if this was not added, if the word secular was not added, the preamble already very much clearly quoted that liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. This is the clause that gives an implicit idea of the concept of secularism that India follows. Okay. Clear so far? Now let's get into justice. Justice is very, very, very important. It's a very important concept. It's a very important aspect. Okay. It is enforced in our country. It is enforced in India by fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. Justice is ensured and is enforced through these important factors of the constitution, that is the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. So what are the kind of justice that India ensures to its citizens? It is the social, economic, political. Okay. Social, economic, and political justice. We'll talk more about this concept of justice when we study fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. But justice again means that if you have an issue, if you face a problem, you shall be given due justice, or whatever is right to you shall be given to you. Keep one second. Whatever is right shall be given to you on equal grounds. Okay. You are equal. I'm sorry, there's some issue with the pen. That's why I'm going slow. Okay. Yeah. So justice shall be honored to every citizen of India equally without any bias. Without any bias. Each one of us is equal in the eyes of justice. The judiciary of India. India has an independent judiciary. More about this when we study the judicial system of India. Okay. So now let's go to the concept of liberty. Liberty. We enjoy liberty by the virtue of birth in our nation. Okay. To be born in this nation itself is liberty. Okay. We are given we are bestowed liberty by the virtue of birth itself in our nation. See, to be born in China, I'm just giving you an example. Okay, that in China, only one child is allowed to be born. That is, a set of parents can give birth to only one child. Right? If you have an elder sister or a brother, You being born is also a kind of liberty. Your existence itself today is a liberty. Okay, in India. So it's a very interesting concept, right? So what does this liberty means? Liberty is an inherent right. Okay, inherent right. You are born with it. You are born with it. So a preamble says that the citizen shall be secured with liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Okay. So liberty is an inherent right. You are born with it. It's an innate right that nobody can take away from you. Okay. You are free to follow whatever religion you want, study whatever you want, work wherever you want to, wherever you fit. You can express your thoughts. You can also sue the government. Okay. Have you heard about a lot of cases? Union of uh, XYZ versus the Union of India. You have so much of liberty to be born. You're so lucky to be born in the land of India that you have a lot of innate rights. These rights are bestowed to you on your virtue of birth. That is very much, if you are born in India, you have the liberty to do a lot of things. Okay, like for example, in our neighboring country, you are not allowed to talk against the government. Here, you can exactly express what you feel like. You can ask the government to give you a certain information. RTI, I'm just throwing examples at you. Okay, if you feel that you have to be informed, you need to understand. If you have given a paper and you need to understand why it has worked in a certain sense or not, you have the right to information. You have the right to express your thoughts, whether it is positive or negative against the government. You you have the freedom to travel wherever you want. You have the freedom to buy assets wherever you want in the Indian territory. So you are bestowed with the freedom of liberty. The concept of liberty by the virtue of birth, it's an innate right that is bestowed on you. Thankfully. So, next, more about liberty. There are two kinds of liberty. One is negative, one is positive. Okay. So, what does this positive liberty do? Is it allows you to be what you are, the best version of yourself. Excuse me for a second. So, with positive liberty, you be the best version of yourself. You learn a lot. You keep on bettering yourself. What and there is another kind of liberty, that's the negative liberty, where the arbitrary action by the state, it should be informed to the individual. So this is kind of a negative liberty. Okay, it is restrictive in nature, but restrictive in a nice way, but it's restrictive. So negative liberty is restrictive in nature, whereas positive liberty allows you to grow in the best and showcase yourself as the best version of yourself. Okay, next is the concept of fraternity, which means the sense of brotherhood. Okay, uh, you and me living in the same territory, or supposedly anthropologically we say we all human beings are very much used to living in clusters, a group. So there always it had a sense of belongingness, the brotherhood, that is you and me are same. Suppose you go to some other country for education or for tourism, you will be identified as Indian, right? Not as a Maharashtrian or a Tamilian or a Malayali or a Teluguite or a Gujarati. You will be identified as Indian, and you will very much identify another Indian as an Indian, regardless of whichever ethnicity or state he or she belongs to. So, this feeling, this concept is called fraternity. It is called brotherhood. The sense of brotherhood or the fraternal brotherhood. There's one more thing that has to be understood here is citizenship. It's a very um, important concept that has to be studied in Indian polity. A very dedicated class shall be taken for citizenship. But uh, when the concept of fraternity comes, directly there is something in relation with citizenship. That means you become the citizen of that land, of India. Okay. And also, fraternity assures the dignity of an individual. So, in the preamble, it says that to promote among them all, that means the citizens of India, fraternity, assuring the dignity of an individual, okay, and the unity and integrity of the nation, which means your individuality, you shall be respected for what you are, regardless of your status, your economic status, your background, your religion, your faith, your looks, how, whatever. Okay, you shall be respected, you shall be guaranteed your individual dignity, you shall be assured, but you have to have the sense of brotherhood, oneness, keeping in mind the unity of the nation. So, this is the concept of fraternity that is promoted, that is propagated in the preamble of our constitution. Okay. Now, one more interesting concept of the date on which the constitution was adopted, that is on 26th of January 1950. So, what happened is Nehruji declared Purna Swaraj. The idea of Purna Swaraj was declared on 26 January 1930. Okay. Again, it was a political statement by Nehruji to adopt our constitution on the same day, but after 20 years, which was on 26 January 1950, to commemorate Purna Swaraj. Hence, you should understand that it our constitution of India was declared or enforced, completely enforced or mostly enforced on the 26th January 1950. Okay. So when we study the preamble, there are two important cases. There are many things that comes into consideration, but with respect to UPSC preparations, I would like to throw light on Berubari case and the very famous Keshwananda Bharati case. Okay. These two important cases will come. You have to very much immediately remember when you study preamble. Okay. Come on. Let's look into the Berubari case. So what is this Berubari case is? Now understand. India shares its border, and when India was during freedom, like during independence, India was divided, okay, into two, that is Pakistan and India. We spoke about it just a few minutes later. So this is West Pakistan and East Pakistan. Okay. That is, now you have to understand that we'll just focus on the today's Bangladesh, that is the then East Pakistan. Okay. The border is called the Radcliffe Line. Okay. The border is called the Radcliffe Line. Okay. So what happened then? There was a small region, okay, small region somewhere here called the New Jalpaiguri region. Okay, New Jalpaiguri region. Repeating again, it's called the New Jalpaiguri region. This New Jalpaiguri region, that is again a very small part of it, the Thana 12. Thana number 12 of the New Jalpaiguri region remained with West Bengal inside the Indian territories. Okay, it remained inside India. This region, okay, this Thana 12 region of the New Jalpaiguri is called the Berubari region. Okay. The dispute was because of this small little region. This case was, so in what happened in 1952, Pakistan demanded Berubari. Pakistan said, this place belongs to us, give it back to us. Okay. So for this, there was a dispute. In 1958, what happened? There was an agreement signed by Dr. J.L. Nehru. Okay. It is called the Nehru-Noon Agreement. It is called the Nehru-Noon Agreement. There, Nehru said that we are seceding away Berubari. That means we are giving away Berubari to Pakistan. We are seceding. We are ceding away Berubari. We are ceding away Berubari. So why was this case again filed? Is according to Article 3 of the Constitution of India, the Union Parliament, the Union Government, can form boundaries. Okay, the state can form boundaries it can define its boundaries. Okay. Increase and decrease, and it can form states. That is how all the states and union territories in India were formed. Okay. It is spoken about more very specifically in the Article 3 of the Indian Constitution. Okay. So what happened is there was a case which said that you are not allowed to give away a part of India like Nehru did. You cannot give it away to any foreign country or give it away. You can form states, you can break the boundaries into small, but the territory shall remain under the jurisdiction of Indian Union government. Okay, clear so far? So, what happened? The President of India then, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, said, how did this happen? You are not allowed to give away a part of the land to any foreign state, to any foreign country. So the Prime Minister said, the President, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the President of India, he was also the President of the Constituent Assembly, went to the Supreme Court, asked for a presidential reference according to Article 143. You will study all this in further chapters, okay? According to Article 143 of the presidential reference, he went to the Supreme Court and asked whether the Berubari case, which happened, was it right? Okay. So what the Supreme Court stated that the preamble is not a part of the Constitution of India. Why? Because Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru said that this is according to the preamble. He has exercised his powers. He has signed the Nehru-Noon agreement according to the powers or according to the statements in the preamble, and he has exercised it likewise. So in the Berubari case, the Supreme Court said that the preamble is not a part of the Constitution of India. Hence, Article 3 later was amended in the 9th Constituent Assembly in 1960, and later Berubari was given to East Pakistan. Okay. But finally, the agreement was validated and it was given to East Pakistan. Okay. This is the Berubari case that you have to remember, which said that the Constitution of India is not a part of. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I repeat my statement clearly. It said that the preamble is not a part of the Constitution of India. But something very contradictory happened in the Keshwananda Bharati case, a very famous Keshwananda Bharati case. It said that the final hearing of the Keshwananda Bharati case said that the preamble is an integral part of the Indian Constitution, very much in contradictory of what happened in the Berubari case, right? Because then Nehru was very much right. He was very much correct, saying that all this is a part of the preamble is a part of the Constitution of India, and preamble says, and he exercised his rights according to the preamble. But in the Berubari case, it was said, the Supreme Court said that it is not a part. But in the Keshwananda Bharati case, it was said that the preamble is very much an integral part of the Constitution. Okay, that is, preamble is a integral part of the Indian Constitution. This is very much in shallow about the Keshwananda Bharati case. Read about it more whenever you have time, but I will definitely make a very dedicated I'll take a dedicated class about these cases in respect to the preamble and the Constitution of India, which led to a lot of other amendments. Fine. So few more things that you should remember about preamble is it gives you a guidance. Okay, it's an identity card. Okay, these are the few adjectives that are given that are in accordance with the preamble. So it is a guidance. Preamble gives you guidance. It tells you it gives you a summary. It is a summary of the Constitution of India. It is a lighthouse. It is also called as the lighthouse. So the preamble gives you guidance. It is a summary of the Constitution of India. It is the lighthouse. Okay. There's also a very famous personality, Ken Munich. He said, Ken Munchi, he said that the preamble is a political horoscope. It is the political horoscope of the Constitution of India. So it is also called the identity card, ID card. It is a reflection of the Constitution of India. So what is all this? All these adjectives are given to the preamble. Okay. Though the preamble is in the starting of the Constitution, it was adopted as in the end. Okay. It is there in the very beginning of the Constitution, but preamble was adopted or it came to force in the end. It was the last thing to be drafted. So you have to remember this fact that Constitution of India was written first and preamble was drafted the last. Okay, very fun. Very interesting, right? Preamble was drafted at the last. Okay, but it is printed on the first page. It is on the first page of the Constitution of India. Okay. So this is all about the preamble. I end the class about the preamble now. Now we'll see further studies about the other important classes with respect to polity in the coming sessions.